Hello and welcome back, and I'm out in the Discovery 3 today, and I'm inside the Discovery for a reason. It's windy outside, and the problem is with these GoPros is that anything more than a whisper, then you can't hear what I'm saying. So top tip for the day is, if you're starting to do videos and you do it with a GoPro, get yourself some lavalier wireless microphones. I had a wired microphone, but I kept forgetting I had it wired in, and I walked away one day, toppled the GoPro over and cracked the screen. Fortunately it's not, in the centre of the screen, and I got away with it. But I'm not going to use them again, and I'm saving up for lavalier ones. Now what I'm going to do today, it's due an MOT in about 3 days time, and there's two things that I definitely need to sort today, lest it wouldn't pass the MOT. But it is a Land Rover after all, and there probably will be other things that it may fail on, and I know that there'll be advisories on it. The first thing is the caliper slider. It's jammed, and the reason I know this is that the brake pedal is sometimes hard and it's sometimes soft. And the other thing is the ABS light occasionally comes on round left-handed corners, usually when it's wet, and that's a sign of the ABS sensor maybe been dirty, or the ring. I say it's a ring, it's a cord ring that's on the CV joint, could be full of dirt as well. So I'll have a look at that as well and clean it out if necessary. So I'm not going to hang about, I'm going to get out into this wind, and the thing is I'll not be able to do any talking as I'm doing it. Hooray! I can hear you shout, but you're not, you're not going to get away with it. I'm going to do a little narration later on. So let's get away out into this wind and get on with it. Well, here I am, I'm back, and there's two types of wheel nuts on this car, and one has got the caps on and the other hasn't. And the one with the caps on is 22mm, and the wheel nuts are 23mm. But I'm going to replace the whole lot for new items, just to make the whole thing a lot easier. Well, there's different methods of jacking this vehicle up, and I went on YouTube and everybody reckons that they're right, but the one that I liked most was the guy who was just straight talking me. He says just get under the wishbone and jack the thing up. So it's at the regular ride height, and that's just exactly what I'm going to do. Now that it's jacked up, I want to get an axle stand in, and I'm going to place it where the normal scissor jack would go, in exactly the same spot. So I'll let the wishbone down a bit. It's gone pretty close to the ground, but it's not on the ground. So I'll get the wheel off now. And I was pleasantly surprised because it actually isn't too heavy. But I want to get another axle stand in, and I've got this one in under the wishbone, this one in under the chassis, and I think that should be secure enough. So I thought I'd have a quick inspection of all the suspension when I was here, and it's got the original gas-filled struts in it. They're a wee bit corroded, but they're still holding air. And everything else, I know that this car has been undersealed at some point, which has protected it. And I was pleasantly surprised to see everything fairly well intact. So we'll get on and get the sliders off. And it's a 30mm socket and a 10mm spanner. And they were quite easy to get the bolts out. And the top one's fairly loose, so it must be the bottom one. So now just get the brake pad warning light off. And it's held onto the bleed screw with a rubber grommet, and just lift that out of the way and just shift the caliper a bit and get it up out onto the hook, which is next to the strut. so that there's no strain on any of the brake hoses. So I'll get straight in with the heat, because I know this bottom one's going to be really tight. I've got a 17mm spanner on it ready with a 3/8 drive. Give it a quick tap. And then I'm using the 3/8 because I don't want to use the 1/2 inch, because I don't want to split the guide pin. And it's moving, so I'm just going to move it to and fro. And then get the old WD-40 in. Where would we be without WD-40? So keep toing and froing until it gets really loose. And then get my lever screwdriver in and just tap it out. And I managed to get it out in one piece, which is great. You can see there that it was rusted in. So get it into the old bench grinder, give it a good clean. That's much better. In the meantime, I'll get the ABS sensor off, and I'm just tapping I think it's an 8mm socket on it. This comes off easily, and I'm just very lightly tapping it to break the crusty seal around the ABS sensor. It actually doesn't look in too bad a nick. Get the old WD-40 on again and just lever it with lever screwdriver ever so slightly, and try and get another screwdriver in behind just to move it a wee bit. And just keep wiggling, tapping, levering until it comes free, and just get out with your hands. And there we go, it's really dirty, and that's what's been causing the intermittent fault. So give it a clean with WD-40 and a cloth, and it's as good as new. I also want to clean out the hole, so there's still a bit of debris in there. And the final squirt of WD-40 and just push it home. And it wasn't too bad to go in, so it'll probably come out again easily the next time, you know, if I have to take it out. Right, back onto the sliders and give them a good clean out, and get some brake cleaner into it, and just put the slider back in and spin it round, and it'll collect the dirt. As you can see there, it's really dirty. So just keep doing this, keep doing it until you've got the bulk of the dirt out. And then the merest slither with copper ease. Get the rubber cap on, push it home, and it's lovely and free. And do the same with the top one. And the top one is actually very clean, so I didn't really need to clean that one out. Just put a mere smeary copper slip on it again and put it back in. Now put the pads in, some more copper slip. taking care not to get any grease on the face of the pad. And the caliper back on. And locate the bolts and get them tightened up. And the caliper's nice and free in the sliders. Get the brake pad warning light back in. Attach it via the rubber grommet onto the brake bleed nipple. And finally get the brake hanger wire out of the way. And go in, and there's a couple of pumps just to get the pistons out to the pads. And there's a lovely hard pedal. So before I put the wheel back on, I'll give it a good clean on the inside, and I do this with all the wheels that I take off all my cars. And it just keeps on top of them. And I noticed this one's got about a kilogram of weights on the inside, but the wheel it's well balanced when it's on the car, so I don't think this is a problem. And this was the difficult bit, locating it back onto the hub. But spot the obvious mistake. I forgot to remove the axle stand. So get it jacked up, get the weight off the stand and get it out. I'm going to have to devise a better way to get the wheels back on the hubs easily. Although they're not too heavy, it's difficult locating the first bolt. So I used a combination of my legs, my hands wiggling it about until I get the first nut lined up and on. Once that one was on, the rest was a dawdle. And it looks as though there's a bit of loose shielding underneath, which I'll have to address at a later date. And taking care with this jack because it just suddenly goes. With a bang. We're back down to earth. We've got all the nuts tightened up now. And I'll have to check the torque on these and get my torque wrench out later on and double check them. So that's it all done, and it wasn't actually too bad a job to do at the end of the day. I got everything done on it and I only done it within an hour, which was great. The worst thing was the wheel getting it back onto the hub. So I'm going to take it away down the road and just make sure that the brake pedal's okay and the ABS warning light doesn't come back on. Then I'm just going to jack it up and have a bit look under the arches of all the other three corners and just make sure there's nothing visible. And cross fingers when I take it in for an MOT, well, one, it'll pass, and two, there'll not be too many advisories. But I'm going to address the advisories, one by one. So as usual, thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, keep watching, keep subscribing. There'll be more videos coming along in this Discovery as I do the jobs and get it all tidied up and all fixed up. So we'll see you soon.